What's up and welcome back. I'm John Stark, MacMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic. And today, I'm doing a second look at Bumblebee. This is wrapping up my Transformers binge to accompany Transformers 1, which is now available on Paramount Plus. The only film I didn't rewatch was Transformers Rise of the Beasts, which I already had a review of on my channel. So I used Transformers 1 as an opportunity to discuss the entire franchise, which all has audio description and is all available on Paramount Plus currently. So that was fun. Um, this is my only my second time watching Bumblebee, but so it gave me sort of interesting reinforcement as to my thoughts on this possibly being the best in the franchise, especially considering some people think Transformers 1 is the best film of the franchise. I've heard that. I also think, given what it was at the time, the first Transformers movie works. So, um, so between those three movies, like which one is really the best? And I think it depends on what it is that you're looking for. I think they all offer you a different flavor. Um, Transformers, the first movie, does offer you sort of like this big summer blockbuster action. In a way, Bumblebee is a little bit more muted. It's more of a coming of age story. You can't, even though Shia is and Megan are still like high school aged in that movie. Nobody would call it coming of age. It doesn't feel like anybody's coming of age in that movie. But in Bumblebee, Hailee Steinfeld, it's all about getting a car. Yeah, getting your car, that first car for the first time, right? And having that freedom, which is very much a growing up moment. She's got friends. Well, she's got a friend. And it's about going on this journey, and even without a transformer, there's a movie there. There's a story, there's a family, there's friends, there's growing up, there's having your own freedom, being able to listen to your own music in the car, that kind of thing. Like everything, having, this unique relationship with your parents, everything is sort of supported outside of the existence of a transformer. Whereas with the first movie, there isn't enough depth there, really. It still features a guy who really wants to get a cool car and impress people, maybe specifically Michaela, but the dynamic is different. He doesn't quite have, we don't get to know him well enough to know what his relationship is with his parents. And the action ends up kind of dominating it a lot more than it necessarily should. If you're trying to say, well, that's a coming of age tale, it's not really. It's just a young boy that gets pulled into sci-fi action, and the fate of the universe rests on his shoulders. Sam Witwicky. Transformers 1, meanwhile, does what a lot of people had wanted to do, which is jettison humans from the series. Just bye. So, and just focuses on maybe like an origin story of Transformers. You're on Cybertron, and this is like where things begin. Yes, it's animated, but hey, if you're there just for the story, if you're there for the lore of Transformers, Transformers 1 will give you the most of that because there are no humans. The first Transformers film that lacks a single human character. So, so wherever you're at, if you want sort of like if you want more human in your movie, then Bumblebee is your movie. If that's what you're looking for, is almost sort of like, I hate to use the word because Travis Knight is not an auteur, but it feels more auteur directed. Like it feels more like it's pushed in that direction. Transformers is more of your summer popcorn loudness. It's fun. It's shiny. It's bright. and it works. And Transformers 1 is for the fans who know all of the different names of all the Transformers and their backgrounds and the relationships, and they want to be able to nerd out on that, on the history of how this all began and see that unfold for the first time, see the beginnings of Optimus and Megatron. So it's so tough because I'm giving all three movies a B plus, and they all have the same grade. So yeah, but to be fair, Michael Bay really did kind of set the standard. Transformers the movie really helped the animated series flourish, but way back in the day, which I haven't reviewed because it doesn't have audio description. But Michael Bay really sort of showed you what the possibility of live action Transformers could be. And that is something that can't be lost. It's like, as cheesy as you may think the 90s Ninja Turtles movies are, it did show you that you could make a live action Ninja Turtles movie and make it work. I think it may be debatable between 2 and 3 on how much you like it, depending on how much nostalgia you're willing to have. But the first movie is a solid adaptation of the Ninja Turtles. So I think Bay does a good job of the first film. I think just kind of coming out of that with sequels was a problem for him, especially with the more sequels he was allowed to make. And then Travis Knight comes in and they're looking for like a little bit of a soft reboot. So they're taking a different path, a different no connection to the original films, new cast, yet again. They tried it with the Mark Wahlberg thing, but that didn't really work out because it felt like you were still tangentially connected to the previous film, but you just weren't following anybody from the previous film. And this film just puts you in a different time and place and deals with the arrival of Bumblebee, and it's sort of like a standalone story. So I think this is also a really great movie. I'm watching it twice. I don't love the audio description track on this. Of the newest, except for Transformers 1 and Transformers Rise of the Beast, this has the newest audio description, but it didn't sound great. It sounded kind of muffled. Like, it sounded like it was losing the battle to the movie the whole time. I wasn't a huge fan of the track. Just the quality of it. Yeah, it just kind of was very underwhelming. I don't know if it's... I don't want to say narrator choice, because I just felt like the quality that was being... Like, it had lost... it wasn't quite at the same... A lot of times the audio description is not at the same quality of the sound of the movie. Or TV series. So it sounds cheap. You know what I'm saying? It comes across cheap because they're not pumping it out at the same level. And that may be it here too. But yeah, it was one of the first things I noticed was, what's up with the audio description? But the actual content, what's written there, is great. Like I said, I saw this in theaters. With, when it first came out, it was during blindness, but it was after I was legally blind when I saw Bumblebee, and I was still trying to go to theaters, and I could still sort of see shapes on large screens a little bit, which I can't do anymore. So I like fully reliant upon audio description. So yeah, I was able to see some of it, like, 'cause it's a Transformers movie and there's a giant robot on the screen. So I kind of had a little bit of an experience with it in the theaters. Not the great one, but a little bit more than rewatching on the second time. So I have a little bit more of a connection to Bumblebee because it's in this weird period for me of that. But um, I don't know. I'm now that I've seen it a second time, it's not like I watched it a second time. I was like, oh my god, I love this movie so much. Bumblebee was what I needed in my life. And after watching all the Transformers movies within like a couple months of each other, uh, I want to give the edge to Michael Bay, which is so weird. Um, that film is fun and it's loud, and if you think about and you don't know what's coming next, if you just try to forget the fact that you've ever seen a sequel to Transformers, I think that movie works. If you never watch a sequel to it, I think the reason why that film is dragged down has a lot to do with the fact that there are sequels to it and the sequels are not good. But I still think, having seen all of the movies, now I would give the edge to Transformers, followed by Bumblebee, followed by Transformers 1. But it's really close because they're all getting B+ grades from me. So, John Cena's also in this, but they needed somebody to play the military, and I mean, that dude looks like he's in the military all the time, so it's a great role for him. And different voice work from different bots that are trying to find Bumblebee. Pamela Adlon is here. So yeah, this is a good movie still, and I would recommend it. The audio description, maybe if we could pump it back up to, I don't know, stereo, like whatever, just give it a once over. See if anyway. Yeah, Bumblebee's B+. I already said it. So, that's my final look at the last of the Transformers movies. I'm gonna drop all these in one day. You're just gonna get an onslaught of Transformers reviews. But they all had audio description, and I wanted to get that out there. I'm more interested in reviewing audio described content than I am not. So that's the reason. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the other side.